Before I get started on talking about this incredible album that everybody should listen to, I reached 5,000 subscribers overnight, and that is a really big milestone for me because I didn't ever think that that was going to happen. Not going to lie. I started this YouTube channel a little over 3 years ago. It has been a slow grind. I have not dedicated nearly as much time to it as I wish I could have in the past. I wish I would upload every day. I just don't know what I would upload every day. Um, and I've chosen not to make clickbait titles. I mean, sometimes I do. Every once in a while I will. And I've chosen not to do cringy content where I shit talk or say things that are controversial, even though I do have those thoughts and I do agree with some of the content that I watch on YouTube that uploads those videos, and just strictly promote what I enjoy listening to. And that's been tough. I mean, 5,000 subscribers is pretty much nothing compared to what people make when they're successful on YouTube. I mean, you need hundreds of thousands of followers and hundreds of thousands of views a day. But I've really enjoyed this, and this has always been a hobby of mine. I've never tried to make it like a sustainable income or anything like that. So thank you so much for all of the support these last couple of years, or several years, I should say. This year is probably going to be a bit challenging in regards to growing my subscriber base due to the content shift that I'm going to be doing, but that's totally okay. I enjoy doing this, and it's, again, a hobby. So thank you so much. I usually do giveaways every 1,000 subscribers. I don't have anything to give away right now, unfortunately. I've given off pretty much as much what I had, and I stopped buying things, as everybody knows. So I might do some sort of like a 5K subscriber stream this week. Thinking about it just to kind of celebrate. But I'm busy this week. I'm streaming again on Heavy Metallurgy on Wednesday, and then I've got a busy weekend. It's my wife's birthday, so we'll be celebrating that. That's my dog Dolly back there. I don't think I've ever shown her on camera, have I? I don't know. She's the loudmouth. She's the one that's always barking and causing havoc. Anyway, so I don't know, maybe next week sometime. But today we're talking about the band Vitriol. Do you know who Vitriol is? Well, they're an incredible band. Probably somebody I should have talked about on here a lot sooner than I have. I don't remember if I've ever shown off any of their other stuff. I do own all of their EPs and their single and their 2 albums that they have out now. Just don't know if I've ever shown them off on here. So I think I might have shown off the EP that came out in 2021 on Total Distance Worship. I bought the tape for that, and that was Antichrist. I don't remember, and I didn't feel like going back into the archives to see. But back in January 26th to be exact, Vitriol released their second full-length album, Suffer and Become, out on Century Media right now. And I was really looking forward to this. I had it on pre-order, and I hadn't listened to it when it was released. I did like a video where, hey, this is coming out today. But I never talked about it or listened to it until I got the physical release. So I finally got this in, and man, it's such a good album. I'm actually surprised at how much I enjoyed this album, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's show off the record. So I am keeping this vinyl just because, I don't know, I want it. I'm depressed that I've sold off so much of my stuff, so I'm just going to keep it for a while and enjoy it. But here is, really, I should have closed my door and not let my animals in here today. But here is the cover, and then here is the back. You do get a printed inner sheet. This is a really nice quality. I'm not a huge fan of Century Media. A lot of people know that, mostly because of their price range of their albums and stuff are just absolute garbage sometimes. And sometimes the quality is not that great in regards to their records. But this one is the exception. It was only like 26 bucks. So that was pretty good. And the cover artist is, where did it go? I wanted to say who the artwork was by, because that's the thing that I'm going to do now. Try to do my best on here. All music and red, blah, 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 additional mixed and mastering, vocal track. Okay, really? You don't have who did the artwork here? I thought I saw this on here. Well, I'll put it in the description. I'll put it in the description. I don't want to sit here and waste time. So here's printed in your sheet. Lyrics on this side. So it is 10 tracks, 47 minutes long, which is I feel like it's a very nice, that's a nice length. It's digestible. It's not too long. It's not too short. I got the Orange Crush 180 gram edition. The other one that sold out, they had like another color copy, and I didn't see black. I was surprised by that. I don't know if black was just for Europe only. I need to change this crappy paper sleeve. I hate that shit so bad. It's so bad for your records. But yeah, so there's the record. But anyway, they had a black one. I'm pretty sure they do. Pretty sure they do. I could be completely wrong. But when it went up for pre-order, I feel like it was only for the European side of the world, which I thought was strange. But anyway, so that's the record. So if you're not familiar with Vitriol, they came out with an album. Their first full length came out back in 2019. This was one of my favorite releases back then too. To Bathe from the Throat of Cowardice, right there. Ooh, let me take that out of the case. I have this on record too. However, it's not on my shelf, and I'm wondering if I accidentally sold it. I shouldn't have sold that, but I still have the CD. So I went back and looked at my sales, and I didn't see that I sold it. So maybe I just misplaced it. I might have shoved it in over here in this cube. I don't know. I just pulled the CD because I just wanted to get this video recorded. So here is their first full length. This is also out on Century Media. And the thing that I wanted to call out about this record, there's the back, and then there's the CD. The thing I want to call out about this album is it was overwhelming when I first heard it. The band no longer looks like this anymore, by the way. So it was overwhelming when I first heard it, and I didn't really like it when I first heard it. I'm going to be honest with you. But then it took me a couple of listens to really get into it. This is a very devastating and overwhelming, almost anxiety-ridden album. I'm not going to lie to you. It is crushing, just fucking bone-crushing. Rips your face off. It's relentless the whole time. And it took me, this is something I don't listen to a whole lot for that reason. Because it's a lot to take in. This is driving me nuts. The record is just sitting here. Man, this video is a fucking disaster today. I'm so distracted. Anyway, okay. All right. So anyway, that album, I don't pull it off the shelf and listen to a whole lot, but I do enjoy it. I just really have to be in the mood for that type of death metal that's just so aggressive, so just fucking chaotic and destroys your ears. And so I assume that the second album would be that way. And while, yes, there are those aspects on this album, and it is pretty obvious, this album has progressed quite a bit in terms of variance and structure that they've added. And I was listening to an interview, I can't remember where it was. It was just a random YouTube channel that was in my algorithm, where Kyle Rasmussen, who is the vocalist and guitarist in this band, and looks like he could be Ragnar in Vikings, if you've ever watched that show. He talked about how he just wanted to take a step further and not just have this be such a chaotic album and add different things to it. And that's exactly what they did. So this album has completely swept me off my feet in regards to how much I love it. The first song completely sucked me in, which is called Shame and Its Afterbirth. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Shame and Its Afterbirth. That song is incredible. It's probably one of the best opening songs I've heard in forever. It's aggressive, it's abrasive, it's just in your face melting, but there's also this really awesome like melodic guitar solo that's in this that's just absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure it's Kyle that's doing it. He's a phenomenal guitarist. I've been following him on social media for a while now, and just he's a phenomenal guitarist. So I'm assuming that that's probably him that wrote that. It is so good. That song sucks you in right away, and it's just in your face melting, rips your face off. Just so devastatingly crushing. But there's also the variances in here that I really, really enjoy. Weaponized Loss is another good track where you really start to see that the band wanted to bring something slightly different while still maintaining their sound that they're known for. It's heavy as fuck. It's bone crushing. It has super deep growls. The drums are just absolutely insane. And I think that is why this album feels so much better to me. It might be a completely biased thing here, but they have a new drummer, and his name is Matt Kilner. And if everybody knows who Matt Kilner is, and you understand why I'm obsessed with the drumming on this record. Matt is also in the death metal band Nithing, which is probably one of the best fucking albums I have heard in a very long time. It was one of my favorite albums to come out last year. I've talked about it. I've shared it. I've given it to so many people. I've gotten so many people attached to it. It's just, he's just a phenomenal drummer. Like, in my opinion, the best drummer right now in death metal. Just incredible, incredible drummer. And that is such a positive and, like, amazing thing about this album that you hear in every single song. He is so talented when it comes to the drums, and you see that on the reels that he posts on social media. He's phenomenal. So on top of Matt's additions to the drums here, Kyle's incredible guitar playing, we also have wait, stop right there. I was totally wrong. That is not who the guitarist is. It is Steven Ellis. Not who I mentioned. Metal Archives was totally wrong. Apologies to Steven. I fucked up. Just wanted to call that out. So ignore this next segment of me saying things that don't matter. It's not the truth. He is not the person that recorded on this album. Was in the band, but it's Steven Ellis. So apologies to Steven if you watch this video. Shit, I forgot his name. He's also a new guitarist in the band. Let me pull it up. Completely blanked on his name just now. Daniel Martinez, who previously played in Atheist for a couple of years, is also a really good companion in terms of the guitars. And then you have Adam, who is on bass and also does vocals. He is one of the founding original members of Vitriol. Him and Carl, the only two founding members of the band. They've added Matt, and now they have Daniel. The sound is fuller. These guys seem to have a formula that worked really well together, and they just wrote a really, really good album. Again, not to knock, because people are going to say this, and this is not a knock on Scott Walker, who was on the drums for the first album. He's a phenomenal drummer too. And again, I did really like this album. It was one of my favorite ones to come out this year. It's not a knock on the other previous guitarists that were in the band. It's just, in regards to a sophomore album, I feel like it's so much better than their first. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. They've made it a perfect 10 out of 10 album, in my opinion. Like, no bullshit. I've listened to it so many times since I've gotten it. I got it last week. And just, it's so good. I would say definitely do a listen with really good headphones, because you hear a lot of the blending and mastering and mixing of the guitars and the drums and just the bass lines. You hear a little bit more of these things on your headphones, but it sounds phenomenal on vinyl. The vinyl sounds phenomenal. I've spun it like 4 times now since I've gotten it a couple days ago. The CD sounds very good too. Obviously, it's a CD. Which I had the CD, but I gave it to somebody. So anyway, it's an incredible album. I was really, really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. There is an instrumental track called Survival's Careening Inertia. I think is how you say that. It starts off like, you're like, oh, it's going to be kind of a slower paced instrumental track, kind of give you a breather. No, it's so fucking crushing and devastating. It's even got some synths incorporated into it. It's such a good track. And then you go to the B-side, and the B-side is just crushing. Like, it's just insanely crushing. Like I said, Weaponized Lost is probably my favorite track on the album. I do love the opening track, Shame and Its Afterbirth. But the B-side is so good. Like, if you're just here for just crushing, devastating music that just literally never lets up, and you're just hearing all of this chaos and like in the best way, you're gonna love the B-side of this album. The A-side definitely has that as well, but I feel like there's a little bit more melodicism in the A side, and the B side they just go and they just destroy you. So it's a phenomenal album. I will say it definitely is overwhelming, especially if you've never heard this band before. So it may not click with you right away if you first hear it, but give it a chance. This is going to be absolutely a top contender for one of the best albums to come out this year already, and it's February, and it came out in January. So people hate me when I say shit like that, but generally, if I feel that way, it sticks like that throughout the whole entire year. So the band is out of Portland. I've said earlier today on Twitter, there's something in the water in Portland where they just make these like S tier bands. So yeah, check this out. Like I said, they have a couple of EPs that have come out in the past. Pain Will Define Their Death came out in 2017, which is a really good EP. I think Everlasting Spew did a couple of reissues of that. And then Antichrist came out in 2021 on Total Distance Worship. And then I think it was just them. That was on CD and tape and tape, or CD, tape, and vinyl. I think maybe not CD, I can't remember. But their other EPs and stuff are good, but this is definitely the best music that they've released so far. So phenomenal album. And that's just pretty much all I've got today. Let me know if you've heard this yet. It's going to be one of those albums where I spin a lot this year. And it's made me happy. I'm happy. It's a great album. So, all right, that's all that I have. Comment below if you've heard this, or if you've heard their past stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one.